They were called the Shining Girls. In the dark, their skin gave off a faint magical glow. Their teeth sparkled when they laughed. At night, their dresses shimmered like ghostly fireflies. But this wasn't some enchanted fairy tale. It was the beginning of a nightmare. The story takes us back to the 1910s and 1920s in the United States, when a glowing substance called radium had captivated the world. It had only recently been discovered by Marie Curie, and people thought it was a wonder element. It was said to heal, energize, and even bring youth. And so, corporations found ways to put radium into everything, from toothpaste and cosmetics to water and medicine. But the most profitable use of all? Glowing watch dials. The U.S. Radium Corporation, headquartered in Orange, New Jersey, was among the first to capitalize. They were contracted by the military to produce watches and instrument panels that glowed in the dark, crucial for soldiers in the trenches of World War I. To paint the fine numbers and hands, they needed delicate fingers. Young women were perfect for the job. Hundreds of girls, some still teenagers, were hired to work in these dial painting factories. They were told the work was safe, even healthy. In fact, supervisors encouraged them to use their lips to bring their paintbrushes to a fine point before each stroke. They called it lip pointing. With every dial painted, a tiny bit of radioactive radium was swallowed. At first, the job seemed glamorous. The girls wore their best clothes to work. Some even painted their nails and teeth with the radium paint for fun, laughing as they lit up in the mirror. They had no idea they were sealing their fate. Then the strange symptoms began. Toothaches that wouldn't go away, jaws that ached so badly they could hardly eat, gums that bled at the lightest touch. At first, doctors were baffled. One by one, the girls began to collapse. Some had bones that cracked under their own weight. Others experienced horrible pain in their legs, their backs, their skulls. One girl, Molly Magda, went to the dentist with a toothache. Weeks later, her entire lower jaw had crumbled and was removed by hand. Before she died, the disease had spread through her entire body. She was just 24. The company, of course, denied everything. They said the girls had poor hygiene, that it was syphilis, that it wasn't their fault. Even as more and more workers wasted away, the factory kept running, and the glowing paint kept flowing. But the girls didn't stay silent. A woman named Grace Fryer, herself suffering from spinal damage caused by radiation, began a years-long battle to sue the company. She found other women to join her, fellow victims whose bodies were literally decaying from within. When the case went to trial, many of the women were so sick they had to testify from stretchers or wheelchairs. Some didn't live to hear the verdict. But the world had finally taken notice. The press called them the Radium Girls, and their story horrified the nation. Eventually, the women won their case. The U.S. Radium Corporation was forced to compensate the victims and change its practices. The case led to the first ever laws protecting workers from occupational hazards and became a cornerstone in American labor rights. But the price had already been paid. In years of suffering, in rotting bones, and in glowing graves. Even today, more than a century later, some of the women's burial sites still emit radiation. Their bones remain radioactive, sealed in lead-lined coffins, and some say their glow never truly faded. Locals whisper about soft, ghostly lights near the old factory grounds. Not headlights, not fireflies, but something else. Something that flickers faintly in the night, like a soul that never found peace. What began as a job of beauty became one of the most horrific workplace tragedies in history. The Radium Girls didn't die quietly. Their bones, glowing still, tell the story they were never meant to speak.